what they decided to do was essentially cut me out of the situation. They felt like they will be able to do everything pretty much themselves. This time, I was in the left lane. I swerved 4 lanes. They only got 3 lanes, by the way. I swerved 4 lanes across the highway with my eyes closed. Eyes are not open. I'm swerving.
The Bamboo Project Podcast starts in 3, 2.
Welcome to the Bamboo Project Podcast. I decided I wanted to become a billionaire doing what I already love to do every day and documenting my journey to get there. I figure I'll make all the mistakes so you don't have to. My name is Donovan Gray, and this is how I will turn my life into a living. First, I want to start off by giving a shout out to the Bamboo Project family. The goal is for me to hit $1 million, and once I'm done, I'm going to help 1,000 of you get there. We are currently streaming on all major streaming platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor. You name it, we on it, and if we're not on it, we about to be on it. For everyone listening to this podcast and not watching it, you can find us on YouTube at The Bamboo Project. We currently have over 300 videos on our channel. Dr.Sebi inspired cooking tutorials, we got that. Travel lifestyle vlogs, got it. Makeup, got it. Hair growth, got it. Real estate, got it. Basketball, got it. It's everything us. We post on our story pretty much every day, and you can find me on Instagram at Donovan Gray, DONIVAN and my phenomenal, beautiful, amazing girlfriend, Anita Byrne, ANETABURN. They said you can't be rich being a jack of all trades. Well, we're going to prove them wrong. We currently have 6 different projects. We have the food project, the music project, the clothing project, the fitness project, the sports project, and the Bamboo Project Podcast, which you are listening to right now. This may be your first time here, and if it is, welcome to the family. But for everyone else, this is chapter 2, page 56 of this story. If you are new, we have 4 different segments. The first segment is the life update. It's a weekly update on what we went through last week. Then we have episode playback. It's a recap of last week's episode and the things I feel like I could have done better. Then we have Donovan's questions. It's a philosophical question I thought about earlier in the week that I wanted to come and present to or share with you guys. And then we have the topic of the day. Okay. All video and audio timestamps will be in the description box below. Today is April 13th, and it is currently 6:30 p.m. All right. I'm going to explain why it's 6:30 p.m. because for people who've been here for a while, we try to start at 10 a.m. We haven't done it in a while now, but that is the plan. So we're going to start off with the life update. The first thing I want to say for life update is how tired we are. We are exhausted. It was a struggle to get this video, to sit down in this chair and do the podcast today. You probably wonder, why was it a struggle? Okay. We've been, I could say, backlogged for days now on videos and I guess things we had to do as far as the house goes, going to Pennsylvania, going to Philadelphia, coming back, then going back out there, staying there for 3 days, having to do a basketball video, record the Dealinator video, edit the Dealinator video, do the voiceover for the basketball video. There's like 5-6 videos that's supposed to go up that were already late. And then we have to make sure we have the videos done for the following week. So we're pretty much trying to do 2 weeks worth of videos in 1 week. Because last week all the videos went out late. So we're trying to get ahead of that, or at least get back to where we're supposed to be and get everything that's supposed to be done out on time this week. So we are totally exhausted. This morning I had to return the car. I'm still editing the basketball video. Melissa was cleaning the bathroom. She had to cook for breakfast and lunch. And I think we do something else too. I forgot. Oh, we had to shoot the Dealinator video earlier today. So that was another thing we had to do. So just a really, really stressful, I wouldn't call it stressful because I feel like it's not stressful, just exhausting. I'm exhausted. I'm just really exhausted. I tried to lay down after I ate lunch to kind of be like, all right, take like a little 30-minute nap. I think I was out for like 2 hours. You said the same?
If you didn't wake me, I would have been out till tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Cause I'm like, when I tell you I was fighting myself, like I was literally having a mental battle like Donovan. You got to get up, because if I don't get up today, it's not going to get done until tonight. Once I finish this, I have to go and do the voiceover for the basketball video. I want to get that up today because it was supposed to go up yesterday. So I'm like, I don't want to put that off for tomorrow, because then tomorrow I have to edit this and the video that we shot today. So I'm like, I have to get it out today so that I'm not backed up even further than I am now. So that's kind of why it's starting at 6:30, because we just figured, you know what, we have to get it out. We are, I don't know if it's been a year. It probably has been a year, but we have not missed a Tuesday, and I didn't want to start missing Tuesday just because we got a house. So I'm like, let's try and get this done. I don't know if it hasn't been a year.
It's been more than a year.
I mean, of us doing it on Tuesday though, because we didn't always do it on Tuesday. In the beginning, days were changing.
Yeah, but we're like what 4 weeks over a year now. I think after we stopped doing it with Hunter, you pretty much did it on Tuesdays.
Yeah, how many
I think we only did like 4 podcasts.
So yeah, so honestly, today might be the actual year of us doing the podcast every Tuesday. And this is how tired I am. I'm like too exhausted to even post like the stories I would post about what we're doing. I was trying to post it, and I'm just like, I'm too exhausted. I need to get the thing that I'm doing done, because I don't want to get trapped into showing what I'm doing and actually not doing it, because it'd be very easy for me to post me editing the video but then never edit the video. Just like, oh hey, here I am editing the video, here I am about to go outside to drop the car off, or here I am about to do this thing, but then in real life, in reality, and where I'm at, nothing's actually getting done. So I'm like, you know what, my main focus is doing the thing that needs to be done, and then if I have the time or the energy to actually post about what I am doing, then I will be able to do that. So that's, like I said, that's the first thing I want to kind of get into as far as what we've been going through last week. I have an update for the Airbnb situation. We finally were able to get on the phone, me, my cousin, my sister, my aunt, and my uncle. As you guys know, there was a video that I talked about the first convo that we had, and it was kind of, I guess you can call it toxic, problematic. It was all the words that people use nowadays to signify that it was an issue. So I was annoyed from that conversation, and it ended with them or us deciding that I will make a proposal of everything I want to do for the Airbnb, and then I would show it to them, and then they would tell me, okay, we want to do it or we don't want to do it. That's where we ended off at. So I made the proposal. I gave them the numbers. Maybe I'll put it on the screen here. If you are watching, you can see it. And we were supposed to reconvene on Sunday. So I decided, like, hey, it would be better for us to do that while we're driving to Pennsylvania, so I could kind of, be more alert. It didn't really work out that way. Like, I was more alert, but I definitely was driving like really slow because I was on the phone with them. But I wasn't like tired. I wasn't like falling asleep. So during that phone call, they pretty much came up with the conclusion that Hadassah and Jasmine will run the Airbnb, right? Because they didn't really like any other ideas I presented to them. They were like, no, we don't want to do any of those. And I'm like, fine. The ideas were something along the lines of, I would just pay them the monthly rent, and then after I pay them the monthly rent, I would just keep whatever income I get from that, and that would be it. That was like the proposal one. Another proposal was we split all the expenses down the middle, and I don't have to pay them any rent. That was proposal number 2. Proposal number 3 was like everybody contribute money to the family fund, because they wanted me to commit money to the family fund from the money I make from the building. So I'm like, okay, how about we all commit the same amount of money that I'm committing? Let's match that. They didn't want to do that either. So what they decided to do was essentially cut me out of the situation, which is fine. It wasn't a bad thing. It's like they felt like they could do it themselves, and that's what they want to do. They felt like I was going to spend too much money on furniture. They felt like they don't need a photographer for the pictures. They felt like they will be able to do everything pretty much themselves, except for the optimization of the unit online on different platforms and things like that, so that it can be maximized and people can find it and that it does well in that area. That's what they wanted me to do. So originally they said they were going to pay me to do it. They're like, hey, we could kind of pay you some money to do it. But for me, before I even get to that part, Jasmine and Hadassah were not going to be getting paid for the service that they said they were going to do. So whatever managing the Airbnb unit means, because I still don't know what that means. They didn't really explain to me. They're going to do all of that stuff, and they were not going to get paid from it, which is beyond me. Even as I say it now, it's kind of comical because I'm like, why are you managing the Airbnb and not getting paid? What is the purpose of that? I don't understand why they want to do that. Like I said, here's my reason. I believe I think it's a pride thing, because I said that I don't believe they would do the Airbnb if I don't do it. So now they decided with my aunt, all three of them are going to do the Airbnb. I think that because I said they can't do it and won't do it, they are doing it. That's fine by me. If the unit does well, it doesn't affect me. If it does bad, it don't affect me. So I don't really care. And like I said, they decided they were going to ask me to help with the SEO and they're going to pay me for it. I'm like, look, I don't want to get paid from this, because I don't want it to be a situation for two reasons. I don't want to be getting paid while you guys are working or quote managing the building and I'm getting paid and you guys aren't. I don't like that setup, because it reminds me of a situation where I talked about when our neighbor came to the house and he was trying to give me $20 for services. He was trying to give me $20 almost as a, what would you call that? I'm trying to think of the best way to put this. He was trying to give me $20 for a service. Well, I think it was asking me for my Wi-Fi, and he would say, hey man, I'll give you $20 for it, right? But now that he's paying me $20 for it, he's not actually just giving me $20, he's paying for it. So now it's a different relationship that we have, because he's going to feel like he's entitled to certain things because he paid me. He's not doing it out of generosity of his heart, like, hey, here's $20, don't even worry about it. Even if it don't work, cool. The fact that you tried to help is cool with me. No, he was trying to pay me. And I get the same vibe from that. I feel like if I'm going to start getting paid from it and no one else is getting paid from it, they're going to think that they can just talk to me any kind of way. You got to do this, do that, do this. And it's on top of the fact that I really don't want to do business with them, because for the simple or main reason is that my aunt does not trust me. My sister does not trust me, which is perfectly fine, because like I said, if they don't trust me, it doesn't affect me because we're not doing business together. So I'm like, I just don't want to be involved in a situation where my business partner does not trust me, because that's only going to lead to more problems down the road. Little things become big things and big things become bigger things. And I don't want to deal with that. So I just said, listen, you guys want to ask me a question? Sure, you can ask me a question. I'll answer the question that you have, because it doesn't hurt me to answer the questions. And if what I do give, it somehow affects the positivity or affects the building positively going down the line, when the building is passed into when we actually, it's hard to even say that, because I was going to say when the building is passed to us, which it already technically was, but it's not, because my aunt didn't put us on the paperwork. So it's not legally it's not what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. It's craziness. So, and when they die, pretty much, or when they go away, and we have the building and it's paid off, then it will be because we were able to put a lot of this money that we were making, or they are making, towards the mortgage. So I'm like, hey, I'll tell you some things. I'll tell you information that I have, and that's it. I'm not going to help. I'm not going to build a site. I'm not going to nothing. I will tell you what to do, and you have to figure everything else out by yourself. So the funny thing about that is, you can tell that my aunt was kind of excited from this, because she felt as though she was getting the same service that she would be getting, that you're going to pay me for free. I don't think, and this is the reason why I choose not to get paid, because I have no obligation to do it. I could just be like, nah, I don't want to do this. Like, you're not paying me. You can't say, well, we pay you every month for it. I don't care. You don't pay me every month for it, and I don't want to do it no more. I can just do that. So, and I don't want to be tied to that kind of relationship with them, because like I said, so far it's already been an issue. So one of the other funny things from this conversation was, like I said, I really think it was a pride thing, because I gave him a proposal of having one of my proposals. I was going to have a property manager, right? The property manager charges 20%, which is about $850 out of the amount of money that I estimated we were going to make every month. So my aunt was saying, yeah, we're going to get a property manager. And like I said, she was saying I wouldn't be a part of it. And she wasn't saying like you can't be a part of it. She's just saying like the idea that we have, Hadassah going to manage it. So is Jasmine. And then my aunt would take the money from the business account and pay for the expenses. I'm like, okay. My aunt told me that she was going to have a property manager for the building. And it was just funny to me because this is why I think it's a pride thing, because they're not even on the same page when it comes to what they're doing. Because she's saying they're gonna have property management do the building, and then early in the conversation she was saying that Jasmine and my cousin Hadassah are gonna manage it. So I'm asking like, okay, so you're saying you're gonna put the money from the business account, and then you're gonna hire a property manager. What would Jasmine and Hadassah be doing? And they didn't really have an answer for it. Like there was no real answer. It was just like, oh, I don't really know what they're going to be doing. And I'm just like, so did y'all talk about this? How did y'all come to this idea about what's going to happen? Other than, I don't like none of his ideas. We could do it ourselves. And they were like, yeah, sure. It's expensive. I don't want to pay that. Let's just do it ourselves. And it's like, all right, cool. I don't think they talked about it. So I just find it to be really funny because when I asked the question, it was kind of just like silence on the phone. And Hadassah was like, hey, I thought we were going to manage it. And my aunt was like, oh, well, yeah, but then we have a property manager. So then they're going to do it. And I'm just like, and this is, like I said, it's so funny because I really don't think that, it's going to be something for me to see. How are they going to turn over units? They were talking about having somebody in the area come over and do laundry. There's no actual washer dryer on site, so they're going to have to go and wash it somewhere else at a laundromat. Who's going to do that? Who's going to sit there and wash the laundry every time there's a new tenant? And then it's like, what kind of tenants are y'all doing? Are y'all doing monthly stays? Are y'all doing weekly stays? Y'all doing 3 or 4 day stays? Because y'all doing 2 or 3 day stays, you're going to have to be doing laundry pretty often. And if y'all doing longer stays, now you got to figure out, are you doing monthly stays that kind of fall into the tenant rights? Because you don't want to have tenant right issues in New York because that person will live in your house and you can't do nothing about it. So, like I said, it's a very interesting thing, but I'm not a part of it. So I could just watch from the outside. And they said, like I said before, they're going to come to me and ask me SEO type questions for stuff like that. And I have no problem with that. And it will still be experience for me in terms of what kind of things they might run into when they ask me questions. And another thing I think is funny because they can tell that I have knowledge on the situation. And I said this in an episode that I talked about, I think it was 2 episodes ago, which would be 54, I think it was, where I'm explaining that people think that I'm dumb until they talk to me. Then they go, wait a minute, he actually knows what he's talking about. And you can get that sense in the conversation because my uncle was like, all right, we just don't want to cut him off. Like, let's ask him questions like, hey, Niles, do you think, like, what should we do about this? Or how can we answer this? Or how can we solve this problem? I'm like, yeah, you should do this. You should do that. You should do this. And it's pretty simple. But it's simple because I've already done the research on it. I've already looked it up. I know how it works. I know what you're going to run into, a lot of what you're going to run into, not everything. And I know the solutions for it. But there's another reason why I think it was pride, because he was like, listen, before we just get off the phone, let's ask him, what can he do? How can he help us right now? Like, what can he give us? What information can he give us so that we can actually have an easier process starting the building or starting the process for the unit for the Airbnb? And in that situation, it's pretty much about security and how they will be able to get a lock on the door. And it's little things like that. But it's something I just thought was kind of funny because they were perfectly fine with being like, all right, we're just going to just cut hands and we go about separate ways and stuff like that. So I just found it to be really funny. But in conclusion, Airbnb in New York is gone again. So we will not be doing Airbnb in Harlem, which is, like I said, it's not a problem. It would be nice to actually have gotten the experience and just kind of see what it's like. But I would prefer not to have the headache. That is something that in this stage of my life and what we're doing, that's very valuable because we're doing a lot of things. And if I'm going to add on something that's stressful, I need to have a benefit that warrants me doing that. And the benefit is not I don't get anything out of doing that. So I'm like, I'm not going to do it. I don't get I might get the experience, but the headache will then counteract the experience. I don't want to be dragging myself through the mud to deal with my family and money and this and that when I could just do it by myself. So when we go to Atlanta, we'll probably do it then. And that seemed like the pipe was gonna happen. Honestly, I talked about this before. We were supposed to do one in Florida, but we just bought the house, so it's like, I'll just wait to go to Atlanta. Like, I'm not in a rush to do Airbnb in terms of like we need the extra income because we have money saved up from all the random amounts of money that came in our account, unemployment. We're about to flip this house, so that's kind of an income down the line that's going to be there. So I'm just, like I said, I'm not, that's Airbnb thing is not something I'm really, especially not the one with them. Like I'm not gonna stress myself out doing Airbnb with them. We will have an Airbnb unit because I said this before in the vlog that we did. Is one thing about us is we're gonna make shit happen. Like we're gonna make it happen. How we gonna do it? It's not gonna be pretty, but at the end of the day, we're gonna have it. So, like I said, I'm not even stressed about it because honestly, last year the plan was to be able to buy a unit to rent out. That was the plan, and we have a house. Like, I think that's so crazy. When I have the time at some point, I'm gonna go back and listen to some old episodes from like episode 6, 7, 4, 9, stuff like that. Just random episodes from way back in the beginning because I really want to know. I want to hear how I sounded talking about it. Probably saying things like, "I don't know how we're gonna do it, but we gonna buy a house." Listen. I don't really have the plan yet, but we gonna get something. So, and like I said, we just closed yesterday. Today is Tuesday, so it was yesterday. We came back last night.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm like, that was 2 days ago, right? Bruh, we are so tired. Like I said, we drove to to Philadelphia or Pennsylvania. And I don't even know if I talked about that on the podcast because I think what happened was after the podcast. So it's probably in the wholesale video. But for people who didn't watch that, who are here for the podcast, what happened was we had to drive to Pennsylvania on Wednesday, I believe it was. Early in the morning, random act of craziness because we had to get the form in person to expedite the process to actually have a company in Pennsylvania. The company we have is registered in Georgia, and because it is registered in Georgia, you have to have a name registered in Pennsylvania also. However, it takes 30 days to do. We don't have 30 days because we were supposed to close that day or that Friday, and we never did because of this reason. So we're like, all right, we're going to go out there, drop it off. It's $300 for the fee to get it expedited. We got the rental. We drove all the way out there. It was 4 hours to get there. This is in Harrisburg. We got out to Harrisburg and we found out that we needed a money order, right? And this is the first time or the second time? What happened the first time? We need a money order the first time.
First time we went to...
Oh, I remember.
Okay.
The first time we went out there, we were supposed to bring a check. The check is supposed to be a check that has the address of the business on it. And I did not know that all checks don't have that. I thought if you get a check from your bank account, it has that. However, what I learned was that it's called a starter check. Starter checks do not have that in the top left-hand corner. There is no address there. So I wasn't sure because I know it said pre-printed on the form. Like it has to have a pre-printed address. And I'm like, I don't think I can write it in there. And I don't see an address there. So I'm assuming this is probably the wrong check. However, we're like, you know what? Fuck it. We're here. You know, let's just see what we could do. So we went and tried to find a pen, fill out the check. And then when we got to the box to drop it off, we kind of just like, yeah, we don't really know if this is like, if this is going to really work. We're not sure. So we decide, you know what? On the form, it has something called deposit account number. So I'm thinking deposit account, bank account, checking number. Okay, same thing. So we wrote the routing number and account number on the paper, dropped it in the box, and we went about our day. We were excited. We made it 4 hours to get there and 4 hours to get back. Now, something I learned on this trip is that it could be a new thing. I'm not sure. I feel like it has to be something new. I don't know. But it's definitely hereditary. So Melissa had learned this even more on the most recent trip, is that it's very common in my family for people to just kind of think with their eyes closed. They just thinking, but sometimes you want to just like sleep. Because you think with your eyes closed. You don't want to have the stress of opening your eyes and thinking. So it's like, why not do one or the other? So we decide that we're gonna close our eyes and then think. So for some reason, I feel like I used to drive very often when I was younger, and I'm pretty sure I would be driving for hours. However, I can't say for sure that I'll be driving on highways for hours. I might get on off a highway depending on where I'm going, but if I was driving for an hour or 2 hours on the highway, I only probably have like 2 or 3 experiences of that. And with those experiences, I never experienced what happened to me on this trip. So on this trip, right?
So you want to choose me to die with.
On this trip, right? I'm driving. On the way there, it was when it first happened. Bruh. I don't even care. On the way there, I'm too tired. I don't even care. On the way there, I started feeling this intense weight on my eyebrows. It started on my eyebrows, right? I'm just like, God. I'm like stretching my eyebrows. I'm like, what has happened? I'm like, this is kind of crazy. I start trying to like squint one eye. I'm like, am I sleepy? I'm like, am I tired right now? Am I tired? So I'm like, yo, this is kind of strange. And I'm like, I don't know how to make it stop. I don't know what's causing it. I think I'm tired, but I'm not really sure. And here's the dangerous thing about it, right? So there was a interview I watched with Joe Rogan a long time ago, and I'm gonna have to rewatch it if it's still up or look into this, because the interview or the guy he was interviewing said that certain people are more likely to be hypnotized because it's actually a mechanism in the brain of how your eye works with how it's connected to your brain. I think it's the optic nerve. So you can test to see who is actually more susceptible to being hypnotized. One of the tests were that I think you have to put your head up or something like that and try to blink. It's something like along those lines. It's something about the motion of your eyes. What's that? That's the thing. I'm like, bro, I think somebody about to rob the house. So you gotta put your eyes up and your head back, something like that. I don't know the exact way of how it's done, but I know that your eyes are supposed to flutter when you do it, right? So for me, during this whole trip, whenever I put my eyes to the right, like it would feel like, now this is gonna sound crazy, right? I know it's gonna sound ridiculous. Like, okay, so think about how you're driving. You're driving, if you're sitting in the car, you're looking forward, you're looking at a TV, right? Whatever you want to call it. If I would look off to the right, I felt like my eyes would instantly like go around the back of my head and come back around the other side. Like it felt very, very heavy. So I would look off to the side and I would just like feel as though somebody's like stretching my eyes all the way around. I'm like, bruh, I can't look anywhere else, because if I look anywhere else, I'm gonna be done. So I'm gonna look straight here at the road, just straight here at right, not nowhere else, right here. And if I looked up too much, same thing would happen. I would just be like, it's almost like I would put my head back, or I would put my eyes back, and I would just feel my eyes start to close. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now? So the other thing about this situation is that it can happen in the blink of an eye, literally, as you just heard me talk about, where you can be thinking, or you can be talking, or you can be blinking. You just blink, right? And then you go, oh shit, I was sleeping. Like, that's crazy. And it happens in the house. Like, you would think, like, you ever close your eyes for a second, or you think it's a second, and you wake up and it's nighttime? Like, you're like, how the fuck did this happen? That's what was happening, right? And I was like, it was happening while my eyes were open at first. I'm just like, whoa, was I, like, did I remember how I got to this, this spot on the highway? I'm like, I'm pretty sure I do. So then, it went all left from there, right? Because we were driving, this is on the way back the first time, we were driving, and I looked off to the right? And then my eyes just kind of shut, but I didn't know that they were shut. So when I finally opened them up, we were swerving off into the right lane, right? But there was a car there. So out of my, spider senses, I was able to kind of get the car in order. Now the car was swerving around. The car was about to hit a truck, not a truck, like a minivan to our right. We were in the left lane and that car was in the right lane. All I know is when I finally opened my eyes, we were swerving over into that lane. Now I don't know how long my eyes were closed for, because I felt like if it were closed any longer, we would have hit that car. But maybe that might have my left hand on it, so my left hand was kind of keeping us close to the left side, because that car was on the right side, if you get what I'm saying. And all I know is, I open my eyes, I'm like, oh shit, a car is like, we're going into that lane to hit that car. And I didn't want to swerve the car over and flip it over, so I'm like, okay, just get it in the lane, and then figure everything else after that. So survived that, right? So now I realize, like, damn, this is an issue. Like, if I'm trying to drive and my eyes are closing and I'm falling asleep while I'm driving, this is a huge issue. This is not just like, oh, I'm in the house, I laid down for a second while I was listening to a video and I fell asleep. This is like, I'm on the road going 85 miles an hour and I closed my eyes and went to sleep. That's crazy. Can't have that. So now I'm like, we gonna need a solution for this because this is not gonna work. Because I'm like, we might at that point, we might have had like another 2 hours left to get back to the house. And I'm like, this is not gonna work at all. So I realized at that point I had to go and get some candy or something to do because this is not gonna work. So we put water on my face, put water on my eyes, just throwing water on my back and my shirt. Anything we could do to keep me awake because this is not gonna work. We're driving for 2 more hours and I can't stay awake. But we made it back home. Everything was good. Returned the car. We're happy. Posted a nice little Instagram story that we're successful. We make things happen, right? Following morning, get an email saying we do not actually have a deposit account. A deposit account is for major corporations. He kept telling me this to let me know that it's for hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, where major corporations are sending money to them frequently. Now that I think about it, I want to know what that means. That's curious. But they have an account with Pennsylvania State of Department of Labor, whatever it's called, where they just say, okay, we're going to put the money in the account and we, the Department of Labor, will take the money out of that account and use it for whatever we need to use it for. We don't have that. So they said that the deposit number or the account number and routing number that we put will not work. So, mind you, we close on Friday. So now we have to drive back to Pennsylvania, right? Not only that, we cannot pay $300 anymore. We have to pay $1,000 now because the expedited fee that we have to pay is an hour. Before we had 3 hours. We don't have that kind of time because they close at 4 o'clock. We left at 12 o'clock. So we figured if we get there by 4, that was the cutoff time. We can give them an hour expedited form and it'll be done by 5. We get the payments that day and not the payment, get the form that day and then send it to the lawyer for the people lending us money, right? So we're driving there again, getting tired, but this time I have a handle on it. This time I have control over it. I'm like, okay, I know the problem. I know when I'm tired. I can see it. I feel it. I got this. I see this. Okay. So on the way there, everything is going fine. We get there, drop it off. I'm lying. It did not go fine. I forgot. A lot of things happened that day. That it did not go fine. We had to get a money order. I don't use money orders. I do not know how those work. So we were driving around for an hour and a half. We were late, so we weren't actually able to drop off the money in time. We only dropped off the paperwork, not the money. We had to go and find a money order. We were driving through the hood of Harrisburg, which I didn't know was a thing, but it obviously is. And I also found out that my debit card has a limit of withdrawal of only $600. That is it. So because I never have to withdraw that much money, I did not know what that meant when I went to the ATM machine and it said, hey, you hit your limit. So we decided like, oh, maybe it's the actual bank's limit and I need to go to a different bank. So we drove around to other banks. There is no Chase in Harrisburg at all. So not only are we driving around, there's no Chase. We're trying to find another bank to get a cashier check. They don't give those because we don't bank with them. So I'm like, all right, maybe I'll go to the ATM machine at this other bank. We go to the ATM machine at this other bank. They say, yeah, our ATM can take out like $800. I'm like, bet. I got $600 from the last bank. From this one, I could probably get another 8. That's going to put me at 13 or 15, 15, I think, 8 and 6.
I don't know how you got the odd number from 2 even numbers.
Bruh, it's 14, right? Is it 14? Fact, it's somewhere between 10 and 16. It's somewhere in that range, right? So I'm like, all right, all I know is we need a 1250, and I was 99% sure that 800 plus 600 is more than that. So I'm like, it's somewhere in that range, right? So I'm like, all right, I go to the ATM, try to take the money out. They're like, nah, you can't do that. So I had to call my bank. This is what the craziest part was. I could have did this an hour ago. We could have called the bank and said, hey, bank, I need to get more money. They'd have been like, okay. We would have went to the ATM, took all the money we needed, and go back and drop it off. We went to like 3 or 4 different check cashing places. They also need to have cash. I can't use my debit card to get a money order, which I did not know. However, if anybody's in a situation like this, you can go to the UPS or USPS, and they do that, the post office. With your debit card. You don't have to have cash. I did not know this. So now, going forward, I'm fully aware that I can just go to if I ever need a money order again. Hopefully we are professional enough to have big ass check. We just have to check the real legitimate checks. Actually, we need to add that to the to-do list to get some checks. So we're late and we never actually get the form in on time. So we have to wait another day, which would be Friday. We thought we'd be able to get it by Friday. We don't actually close until Monday. whatever. It's not the point of the story. Point of the story is that I'm driving back home again. Okay? So it's a horror story. That's what this is. So I'm driving back home.
Did we spend the night?
We did. See? Crazy. We went to, we did too tonight. We went to Airbnb over there. I'm saying, we so tired. I can't tell you what day was what we did. We did mad stuff over the last 5 or 6 days. And it's so crazy because it's almost like it never happened. Because we're in the house now and I'm like, we've been doing mad shit. We've been driving back and forth to Pennsylvania, to Philadelphia. We went to escape room. We had to go do a closing. During the closing, we had to go get another check because the ones we didn't have, they didn't work. Then the key was fucked up. It was a lot of stuff happening over the last couple of days. A lot of shit. I'm gonna try and touch on it a little bit, but I just want you to know there's a lot of craziness happening over the last 5 or 6 days. And we're not really out the house yet. Like, we're not out of the woodwork yet. We still have some more stuff we gotta do. So, we're back to the horror story, okay? Donovan driving. So, I'm driving back home, right? And y'all know the symptoms that I said before, right? Your eyes start drifting off to the side, right? Then they close a little bit. My eyebrows get heavy. I'm trying to keep them open, stretch my eyes real wide like this, right? I'm looking around. I'm like, all right, I'm trying to keep my head like awake. I'm doing whatever I could do. I'm kind of like trying to fidget in the chair, like what keep me awake. And then I'm like, oh, we realized that Melissa's music. Yeah, that's what happened. I think we learned before that trip, that time. I'm like, babe, I don't know your lyrics, so when you playing your music, I can't vibe to that. 'Cause I don't know I can't rap to that. I can't get jiggy with that, right? So I'm like, if you put on my music, I know my songs. I go, okay, I can kind of stay awake to the music. I can, be in tune with the lyrics. Like I said, symptoms kicking in. And I'm like, all right, the music is not vibing with me. So Melissa is going to put, I'm like, babe, can you put on my music? I need my music. It's not hitting for me. I need something that's going to be more uplifting, more vibing, more something I can like move to, right? So honestly, in my opinion, Melissa took a sweet time. She was like, because I asked a while back. I said, hey, I did. When I asked, Melissa said, okay, after this song. That's what you said. Remember that? That's what you said. That's what you said.
I said at the end of this song.
That's what you said. After this song.
But the funny thing is, I wasn't waiting for my song to end. Because I realized, I'm like, I'm not really hitting with this song either. So I started to change it. But the thing is, because my phone was connected to the Bluetooth, I had to get your phone connected to the GPS so you could hear it on the speakers. Mm-hmm. That's what I was doing.
Yeah, listen, all I know is my music wasn't playing. That's all I know. At the end of the day, I'm like, hey, we getting to that time. My eyes shut and closed.
I feel like you should have asked me earlier, but go ahead.
Earlier than when I was like, hey.
Earlier than you could probably go ahead. Because there's no even, what happened don't even make sense. So you're not going to sit here and say that it's because I didn't.
Listen.
You told me 3 minutes. 3.
That's a long time.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, it's not.
And honestly, my phone should be connected to the thing either way. So I don't know why it wasn't.
Listen, go on. Listen, my phone was not connected after that. Not really.
No, I'm saying, how was my phone? Why was it hard for you to connect my phone to the system if it was already connected before that?
No, it wasn't hard for me to connect your phone to the system. I had to put in the GPS.
See, that's not important. That's secondhand important.
Because I think we're gonna exit soon.
Which you want to get lost or die?
Well, I didn't think it was like that situation now.
So see, that's what happened. It was life or death. But hey, we on the road. I'm getting tired.
Listen.
So, but I'm finish the story. So, like I said, symptoms kicking in, music not vibing. Melissa's like, all right, I'm gonna put on. She said right now, if I heard that, I might leave it in. I don't know if I did or not. She's saying that she was connecting the GPS to the system, to the car, the Bluetooth, right? So that we don't get lost, right? I need the music so I can stay awake, right?
And it doesn't take that long to do both.
Obviously it did.
The song didn't end yet.
The song should have been off when I said, hey, red flag. I'm about to be out. I'm knocking out. Cause I said, can you change the music?
Okay, so you're blaming this on me.
No, I'm not. I'm saying, can you change the music? And you were like, yeah, ooh, sure. I'm like, all right. I'm gonna stay focused. The song is done, right? So now, okay, this is where things get a little crazy because Melissa's changing the song. It might have been like, I don't know how long it was. Could have been 45 seconds. Could have been a minute. I can't really tell you how long it was. All I know is that I was out like a light. Right? I'm talking about, this was not the same as the first time. The first time, I kind of like had a long blink like this, like, oh my God. This time, I was in the left lane. I swerved 4 lanes. They only got 3 lanes, by the way. I swerved 4 lanes across the highway with my eyes closed. Eyes are not open. I'm swerving. Think about it. Imagine if you were watching one of those cartoons, right? And you punch the guy driving and he gets knocked out and he just swerved off to the side. That was me. And Melissa's head is down looking at the phone. looking at the phones. She don't know she's about to die. She has no idea she's about to die right now. Melissa does not know her life about to end at this very moment because I'm swerving across 4 lanes like this, like with my eyes closed, just swerving. And thank the Lord, whoever invented this needs a raise. They have that gravel thing on the floor, right? That when you hit, if you're not a driver, you don't know what this is. On the highway, there are these, I guess you could call it just things in the ground that you roll over. Right.
Exact reason.
When you roll over them, they go like, so you know that you're, oh shit, you passed the line, like you're not on the highway no more, right? So here's the great thing about that, right? Not only did I pass, I believe that, okay, I'm gonna break it down for you. Take a second. So you have the left wheels and you have the right wheels, okay? I was in the left lane. My assumption is that my left wheels is what woke me up, which means that my right wheels already passed over the thing. So I already heard the once, and I was just like this, still sleeping. I think the second is what I heard it. And the reason I say that is because I saw it when I opened my eyes. I thought he was in the trees. I looked up, all I saw was the wood and the trees and grass. The car is kind of up in the air. I felt like we was on like a little hill or something. I didn't know. I don't even know if that's true. Listen, I'm be honest. I thought the light.
It's not true.
See, I thought we was on the hill. I don't remember. It was so crazy because I thought, like, listen. Okay, you couldn't tell me I was about to fly off a cliff into a ditch. I was convinced, like, oh, I seen all the movies. I swerved already. I'm about to be on the side in the hole. We about to die, flip over. Convinced, right? So then, all I hear is, I heard the already. I heard that, right? Then I hear, I'm like, oh shit, you done hit the fucking side thing. Bruh, I'm thinking we done hit the side of the car up against what's that thing? The stanchion, whatever's in the middle, the metal, the cement shit. I'm like, oh, it's a rental, car fucked up. We done rolled into that shit. I'm like, oh my God, this is all, this is crazy. This is insanity. So I thought we hit the cement thing, right? And in my mind, like I said, we done already ran over the thing. Now we getting the thing. I'm like, bruh, in my mind, the car is total. The car is completely destroyed. The mirror probably came off. I'm thinking the wheels probably popped. I'm thinking,
and it's a rental.
And it's not ours. So I'm just thinking like, bruh, what is happening? I'm like, oh my goodness. Well, I have to bring this car back to them and they're going to be like, what happened to you? I'm going to say, I fell asleep. I was sleeping on the highway and we hit a bunch of stuff. Now,
insurance this time.
Bruh, so here's the thing too, right? The first time we went, I got insurance. This time, I don't know. They didn't ask me this time. So that's going through my mind. Here's the thing about the brain, right? You always hear things people say like, oh, the brain, it moves and thinks so fast. Like, oh, milliseconds of time from your fingertip to your brain. It's like, oh, that's how fast your brain is moving and thinking, right? This is a very true statement. Here's how I know that. I must have ran through 55 different thoughts between falling off the highway and getting back on, right? Swerving 3 lanes, I thought about us dying. I thought we was on a hill. I thought we was in a forest. I thought the car was destroyed. I thought we lost the side of the car. I thought Melissa was about to die. I'm looking at her face. I'm looking at the street. I'm looking to make sure we didn't hit nobody's car. I'm thinking all this stuff. All we did was swerve 3 lanes. So my brain was going through craziness on this time, right? So obviously, I don't know how the car looks. I'm still in the car. So we came back on the road, right? And I'm just like, that was kind of crazy. Now, Melissa told me, I said, oh shit. I don't know if I said this.
He said something. I don't know what he said. Because from my perspective, what was happening was, I went to put in the address of the GPS and change the song. So I just finished the GPS. I literally was going into Tidal and about to press play on your playlist. That's what I was about to do. Mm-hmm. So my head is down, right? Mm-hmm. All I feel is that, and I hear Donovan, and then I'm seeing him trying to straighten the wheel, and I'm just like, wow, I'm about to die.
I probably said oh shit. I'm pretty sure I said. I might have been like, cause that's something I would say. I'd be like, oh shit. Like I'm pretty sure I said oh shit. Cause I'm like, once I'm not a screamer. I definitely didn't say ah.
And I didn't scream either.
Yeah.
It was silence.
So this is my theory about Melissa not screaming. Cause I think I realized it during this time. This is my theory, right? Cause I used to always think like, it's weird that Melissa will not get injured or hurt and make a big deal. Right? All the time. But when it's actually an actual situation, she'll make any sound. So my theory is that she is so, I don't know if I want to say locked in or frozen in fear that she don't want to get hurt, that she's just like, don't move at all. Don't do nothing. Just what's happening? That's what I think. What do you think about that? That's my theory. Because I'm like, I can throw, hey, babe, here's the remote. The remote, right? That's what happens, right? We about to swerve off the side of the highway and she's just like this, not moving. So I'm like, I don't know. I think her brain short-circuited. I think whenever there's real danger, her brain short-circuits and just goes like that and goes, okay, we're back live, guys, and we're here, and the brain comes. It's like SpongeBob when the fire's happening, and he's just sitting there like this. I think. What do you think about that? Does that sound accurate to you?
Do you think that's which one would you prefer?
In terms of your reaction?
Yes.
I'm
pretty sure you prefer the silence.
But here's the thing, though. I do, maybe, because I don't. Okay.
Not saying that that's the reason, but
right.
That's not a problem. I don't think that's an issue.
But here's the thing, though, because if I know why it's happening, because that means that if there was an actual real situation where you need to do something, you wouldn't move, and that's what I don't know. Like if there was where you had to like get out of the, like if something was actually happening, because in that situation you can't really do anything. Yeah. So I'm like, you just sat still, but you were like this. And it happened some other time too. I don't remember the other time that it happened. Well, I mean, when you burn yourself. Or when you drop hot oil on yourself and you be like,
no, I say something. I'll be like, oh, do I?
You don't say anything. Only nothing. You might look at it. And that's the only reason why I know something happened. Because you'll be like, so I'm like, oh, you must have really got burned this time because you're not moving. So that's what happens. But if the oil popped near you, oh shit, that was crazy. So I'm like, I don't really know.
Because my brain goes into kind of problem solving mode. So, yes, it does, funny enough.
When you're getting burned? When you about to die?
Because I'm trying to assess the situation. I'm trying to see, okay, am I bleeding? If that felt really hot, is it going to welt? Can I put something on it? Like, that's what I'm thinking when I'm looking at it. So, in this situation, I'm in the car. I literally, like you said, I can't do nothing. I'm going to grab the wheel. This is going to really fuck us up.
I mean, yeah, because I said, I think the response was fine. I'm trying to figure out what is actually happening on the inside, because that means that response could be an issue in a different situation.
But like, in what situation would that be an issue?
A mass shooting. Like if you don't want to move during a mass shooting, you're like, I'm just gonna stay here. I don't want to move because I don't know what's going on. I'm just gonna stay right here. It's like we have to get out of this area. We need to move from here. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know. Because there's never been a time where you had to actually do something when that time you were in that kind of danger.
Yeah, in my dreams, there's been times where, in my dreams, I definitely used to hide all the time. Mm-hmm. That would always get me fucked up. But I don't know if that's on purpose so I can use the bathroom. This whole other anyways. But there has been times, more so when I moved here, that I'll fight back in my dreams. We talk about this all the time. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's kind of like a signifier for how I might act in this situation.
Okay. Yeah, because I was thinking about that. I'm just like, because I didn't really see your face. I saw it by my peripheral. So I couldn't really read your body. I'm just like, okay, I know she's not panicking, but I can't see your eyes. I can't see like what you're doing, your face expression. All I know is you were just like this.
I mean, because
or like this.
Like I looked up and I was assessing the situation because the car is shaking. I'm hearing it scrape against the side of the road and everything, like on the metal thing. Mm-hmm. But when I looked at you, you looked like you were very much intent on keeping the wheel straight. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, if he's keeping the wheel straight, we're not swerving to the left, we're not swerving to the right. So I'm not really in that much danger. It's more so getting to like a stop.
Bruh.
Stop.
Yes, bruh. Because I'm just thinking, that was my main concern. Because when it happened, I'm like, I don't know what's happening to the car. I can't tell what's happening to the car. The car could be destroyed. I don't know. But I'm like, we're not in too much danger inside of the car at this current point. So all I need to do is make sure that we can securely get the car to a stop and make sure that it's off to the side and nothing happens. Honestly, like I said, this was, if we being honest, it could have been a grace from God, because if there was a truck there, if there was a car there, if there was a person there, they would be dead. They would be dead. The person would definitely be dead, because they would have got hit. Thank God there's nobody there. A truck might have killed us. That would have been a crazy accident. And another car, we could have killed somebody. So I'm just like, it could have been, there was literally, when I said there were no cars around us, and we swerved. Now I'm just imagining this too, from the perspective of somebody seeing this, right?
Because there was somebody there, because somebody passed us.
They were behind us, but think about, for them to pass us, they would have had to be kind of far back, because we did all of that, and then we saw them like pass us. But I'm just thinking, like, if I'm driving on the road, right, and I just see somebody just swerve across 4 lanes, I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'm not gonna drive past them yet. I'm gonna just let them get their shit together, and I'm gonna just kind of, all right, they good. I'm hoping, because like I said, that could have been it could have been tragic. If a truck was coming, that would have hit us. Our neck would be in the hospital right now. So it's a funny story because we're alive. That's why it's funny, because it's like, bruh, that shit was really crazy. And I'm just thinking, what?
Just thinking how I look down to put in the music, put in the between me putting the GPS in the song, Donovan fell asleep.
Bruh, and it's like, this is not unnormal or uncommon. This happens all the time. It's just not while I'm driving the car. So. And honestly, I wonder about what?
About not falling asleep. I'd be like, are you falling asleep? You'd be like, nah, I'm good.
But no, I don't be sleeping though. The difference is that, I mean, I don't think I'll be sleeping. The difference is, if I close my eyes in the house while I'm awake, that's perfectly fine. The house not gonna flip over and fall on and fall over. So if I'm like, if you're talking right now and I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm just, my eyes are just tired.
That's what you be saying.
But I'm awake right now when I said that.
You're not.
But I'm saying, but if you asking me that, I'm like, yeah, I'm fine.
No, you're not though. That's the thing. I feel like you be lying. You all the time.
How you ask me a question and I answer you and I'm not awake?
I said, are you falling asleep? You be like, nah, I think I'm good. And then 2 seconds later, you're snoring.
Then I go to sleep. That's me going to sleep. I wasn't falling asleep. I was like, you know what? My eyes are getting tired. I'm getting heavy. You go to sleep? I'm chilling. I'm chilling for now. Now I'm tired. I'm going to bed. That's how it works. Like I said, that is how we almost died in Pennsylvania. So some more, I guess, bonus notes about that, because this is something that we need to discuss. Melissa has to ask herself, am I a bad driver? Right? Now, you guys heard the story. Would you say I'm a bad driver because I fell asleep? Does that make you a bad driver if you fall asleep? I don't know. I can't say for sure.
That's not why I said you're a bad driver.
That is also true. Melissa feels I'm a bad driver because
how you drive.
She wants me. Okay, here's what it is. Here's a difference in our driving styles. Okay.
That not because of what I want.
What you mean?
I think you're a bad driver.
I don't. Listen, because of what you want.
No.
No. Okay. Do you want to explain why you think I'm a bad driver?
Because of how you drive.
But what? But I don't know. Okay, I don't know what you're referring to. Are you talking about missing an exit?
Yes, you know exactly what I'm.
So Melissa feels like because I miss an exit, I'm a bad driver.
And missing exits, doing
missing turns in another state you're not from, bad driver.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
That is what you're saying.
No, it's not.
What are you saying?
You don't follow. You don't listen to the GPS.
What are you talking? How you
listen to the GPS?
Okay, sure.
Turn in whenever you feel like it.
And
you be the way that you switch lanes sometimes, if you won't prepare to go into that lane when it tells you to prepare, you'll prepare to go into the lane or prepare to turn when you get to the turn. And in my head, I feel like that don't make sense. So that's why I think that you must not be a good driver.
Okay, obviously, y'all heard the first two are ridiculous, because not listening to a GPS does not make somebody a good or bad driver.
No, I'm saying that you don't remember the turns, or you won't remember.
How does that equate to driving?
Because you're not like, you don't remember where you're getting off at. It affects how you drive, because now you're supposed to make this turn on the right here, but you all the way on the left, in the far left lane. Now you have to go over 2 lines, the whole car sideways.
That don't be happening though.
Yes.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, it does not.
Yes, it did.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it did.
Okay, what are you saying right now?
That you be going over 2-3 lanes at the turn to get to the turn to turn into that lane. Granted, there might not be cars in there right now, But sometimes there be cars there, so you have to, or you be skipping everyone just to go in front.
Okay, again, this y'all are hearing it now. Y'all are hearing it. Okay, so
this is what I think.
Right. So I'm gonna explain from my point of view. Okay. So I'm gonna address the lane thing. Melissa, on Melissa's side, she was giving directions. Right. She has the phone in her hand. She is telling me where to go. Now, Melissa is saying Melissa would like for me to get over into the exiting lane a mile back. Maybe more than that.
True.
It is very true.
It's 0.5 miles.
Melissa will no. That's what Neffy said. That's not what you say.
That's what I'll be.
No, it's not. Because you'll say get to the right, and I'll say how far we gotta go. 11 miles. I'm like.
I be thinking that maybe it's because I didn't tell you where to go, like what direction to stay to. So because I'll say that you're gonna exit at exit 15, and it's gonna be on the left side in 3 miles. That's what I'll say.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
You will literally. I have the quote in my head. Stay to the right. You only say that if you're coming up on an exit. You don't say that if the exit is miles from you. That's what you're saying. You be like, stay to the right, stay to the left. I'm like, all right, exit's coming up. I'm driving. I'm like, what exit we getting off at? 15. What exit we at right now? 7. I'm like, I don't think I should be in the right lane right now. I'm not getting off. That's what be happening. So then I gotta go across. So then this is what I'll do. I'll drive.
But you don't even do that. You don't go into the lane when I tell you to.
What?
You don't go into the lane.
No, I did. I was doing that. And when I was doing that, I realized, like, hey, you're telling me to do this way, way, way beforehand, right? So that was the first thing. The second thing, Melissa said that cutting other cars off in traffic, at like lights and stuff like that, right? So multiple times what would happen is I would be driving in a lane and be like, oh shit, this is a left turning lane only. I'm like, fuck, I gotta get over to the other lane because if I only turn left, I'm gonna have to go on the highway or something. So I'm like, or go down some crazy other path. So what I'll do is I'll go up to the light or wherever I gotta go, and I will merge with the cars turning right in a left only turning lane. That's what I would do. That happened probably like 4 or 5 times. So I'm like, all right, I could either go. Cause Melissa said that she thinks a better idea is to just make the left turn and then come all the way back around and get back in the right lane and go. Me, I'm like, I can just turn with these cars here, and if someone lets me over, they understand that hey, you made a wrong turn, you're getting over into this lane, I'll let you through. So I'm like, I bet, appreciate it. So those are 2 things. The third one, which is going over across 3 lanes, when that happens. Or when it happened, it was like 2 times in particular that it happened, right? With that, if I think that Melissa's very uncomfortable with crossing 2 lanes at one time. So if I'm going from the left lane all the way to the right lane, I don't think that she's comfortable with that, and I feel like that is where a lot of the issue comes from. I think that if I'm wrong, let me know. I think you want me to I should be in the middle lane.
Not in the middle lane, but I feel like I feel like I can't, because I'm like, why? What other reason would there be for you to get all the way up to the lane, like all the way up to the line where you're supposed to turn at, in the wrong lane? That's not the turning lane. Other than you don't know where you're turning at.
I don't.
Yeah, and I'm like,
that don't make somebody. You don't know direction. You don't know where you at.
But the GPS be saying it.
It don't. You the GPS.
I be saying it.
You don't.
I do. And even with the GPS, because remember the drive home, I didn't say nothing to you.
So let me ask you this.
The GPS, you were still missing turns.
Sure, but here's the thing. I miss it both sides.
Huh?
What I was gonna say before that was that. Do you think there were times that you told me the wrong turn?
Yes, probably.
Does that make you a bad driver?
No. But the thing is, I feel like I would say it more than once, and you'd be like, yeah, I heard you, or yeah, I know, and I'm watching us not turn. I feel like you were doing it on purpose.
No. Absolutely not.
Okay. And then on top of that, it's just kind of the same thing where it's like, I'd be like, you're going to turn here. You're going to turn here. You're going to turn here. And you'd be like, just not in the lane to turn.
It's too late at that point. Because this.
But that's the thing. So that's too late. But when I tell you before, it's too early.
Because this is the thing. If I'm gonna go from one lane over to the other lane, I'm like, oh, I have room to do that. If you tell me to turn and there's a car behind me and a car coming up on the side, I can't just stop the car here.
I never tell you to turn right when the turn is there. Like, I never do that.
Okay, let's say that's true. I don't remember, but let's say that is. Whenever I have to turn, there has to be enough space for me to turn.
I understand that. I completely understand that. But when I tell you ahead of time, you say that it's too early.
But you're saying ahead of time. There's a limit of early.
Well, I don't know what that is for you. I don't know what that sweet spot is for you. But if I say too early, it's too early. And then if I say it, honestly, I already said it at that point, but you don't remember. But maybe I should say it again.
You said 4 miles ago.
I be saying it more than once.
And then I gotta ask. I'll be like, hey, which way we going? And then you also be like, turn left. I'd be like, where? Oh, back there. We missed it. So listen, that be happening. So that was on our trip to closing the property. Let's see what are the last couple things I want to get on, because this is gonna be most life update because there is no topics today. Episode playback is very short because as I tried to listen to it today, I fell asleep. I'm exhausted. So like I said, it was a struggle. And honestly, there was, from what I did hear, I probably got about an hour through it, maybe 50 minutes. I didn't really hear much correction other than, I'll get to that when I get to the episode playback.
Even though I wasn't trying to.
It's not stressing me out in the escape room. You sure?
Yeah. I was trying to work on our teamwork.
This is what I learned. This is what I learned. And I don't know how to utilize this, but this is what I learned. We work perfectly fine together when we're not in the same room. I feel like we did amazing in the first room. But I feel like once it was us doing it in the same space, it didn't work. I don't know how to utilize that or what that means.
That makes a lot of sense.
Because I'm like,
Here.
huh?
Put that here.
In terms of what?
In terms of like, I have to be. When you're not home with that, I'm not thinking about what you're doing or what I might be doing may affect what you're doing. So it's kind of like I can kind of do whatever I kind of want to do or feel the need to do, and it won't impede on you.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I feel like here, because we're both home and there isn't really a separation of space, like the sewing that might interfere with you using a mic or whatever. Or if I'm singing or if I'm playing music.
Yeah, I don't think that's the same thing. I think when we are in the same space, you don't allow me to have my space. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm going based off of the escape room, because once we enter the same space, now it's if I'm doing this, you want to do that. Okay. Flashlight, puzzle piece. Huh? Flashlight and puzzle piece.
But I was doing the puzzle before you. I was the one that was putting.
But you stopped.
Because I ran out of pieces, and then you found the rest of the pieces.
So I'm coming to put the pieces in the puzzle.
But I was doing the puzzle. I was putting the puzzle together.
Okay, but I had the piece in my hand.
But I was doing the puzzle. But you wanted to put the piece in.
That I had.
I was the one doing the puzzle.
But you didn't have the piece.
But I had pieces already.
But you didn't have the piece for the puzzle.
Because you just found it. That doesn't mean that you take over the puzzle now.
But I don't take over the puzzle.
So why were you putting the piece in?
Because I had the piece for the puzzle.
That doesn't mean that you put it in.
What would I do with it?
Because because there was a puzzle yesterday too, right? And once I found the pieces, I just kept finding pieces and I gave it to you.
No.
Yes.
You put them together.
At the end. Because I asked if I could help.
On both of them. On both of them.
You was there for a minute and you wasn't putting no pieces.
So I'm like, you would do okay.
There for a minute
So
and you wasn't putting no pieces in.
So as I say, so that's what I'm but that's your argument is what exactly?
Well, like I said, on that second day, in that second room, I was the one doing the puzzle. That first day, you were the one doing the puzzle. And then I asked if I could help. Because the puzzle wasn't getting done.
And you started putting
Yeah, honestly, we both know. I was thinking about this too. We both know that visually, like when it comes to patterns and stuff, that I'm kind of good at that.
Yeah.
So maybe I should do puzzles.
I mean, that's fine. But if I'm currently doing the puzzle, I don't feel like snatching the puzzle is the best way to do that.
I agree. And I apologize.
And the flashlight. What's the one about that one?
I remember that one.
I was like, hey, where's the engineer's room at? And then you went to snatch the flashlight from me to put it inside to look.
I can't see it. I found it before, but I don't know which one it was. So I had to shine the light on it. But I know where it was, but I didn't know which one.
So, like I said, what I realized, I don't know how to utilize this, but I felt like everything was very calm and easy in the 2 cells. And I feel like as soon as we got into the next stage, it was ridiculous. It was chaotic.
I don't think so.
I feel like it was. I feel like
the 2 things that you're talking about was in the last stage, and I don't think it was a problem because the time was running down, and I think I was getting more frantic because of that.
And then keep going.
But I think we were fine when we were working in the middle thing with the pipes. I think we were fine. Okay, you disagree? Why?
The tic-tac-toe. I feel like you were trying to do it while I was doing it.
How?
I was putting them on, and I had told you to go. It was 2 things. I was asking you. I was like, listen, I'm doing this. Just go over there and do that on that side. But I had to tell you that because you were trying to do the thing.
I was trying to see what the patterns look like because there were missing holes.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I'm telling you, top left-hand corner. That's what I need. The one that's blank over there. But when you're able to come look at it, you don't go over to the other thing.
I remember. I felt like we kind of rectified that pretty fast.
But I felt when it was in the 2 cells and there was no option for you to come to look at what I'm doing, or even it might be it's vice versa. I think that's when the problem happens. I think it's weird. It's a very strange situation. When we have to trust each other in the same room, it doesn't work. I don't know why that is.
When we have to trust each other in the same room.
So like, if let's say you're doing something on the wall, right? You're doing some math. I'll come over to you and be like, right? And I feel like that happens both ways. But I'm like, when we have the room separated, it's like, hey, I have this thing. What do you have on your side? I got this. All right, well, I see this. You see anything like that? No. All right, and I don't feel like we took that into the other rooms. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. How do we, like, what causes that? And then also, how do we use that in our regular life? And why do we do the other thing also? What is that?
Because I think we both try to take in as much information as we can while we're in the room. And there may be things that I notice that you don't notice or vice versa.
Before that, anybody that doesn't know what we're talking about, we did an escape room it's called the escape game, I believe it's called. And the first part of the escape room is 2 different cells. So Melissa's in one cell, I'm in the other cell, and we can only talk through the cells. I don't know what's in her room, she does not know what's in my room, and we have to use the teamwork to get out of the room together. But like, for example, there was something I had to like pass to her, but they don't tell you have to pass it to her and things like that. And when we were in those rooms, we were able to get through the room pretty quickly without us being in the same space. Once we got to the next level, the next door, the next stage, and we were in the same room together, I feel like it became chaotic. That's what we're kind of talking about. So
that's how he felt.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I mean, I feel like the evidence is there.
What evidence?
That we got through the first room very fast. And I feel like it was very calm. I don't feel like there was no stress.
Yeah, I guess, but like, I think that's just how the escape room goes because it's a time constraint. So it's gonna feel more pressure the closer you are to getting to the time running out.
No.
That's how I feel.
That's what I'm saying, because I don't feel.
Do you look at the time while you're doing the escape room?
Mm-hmm. But that's what I'm saying. I'm like, there's pressure comes from what you put on it.
But yeah, I mean, and you see how I am even with the deal or no deal with the time clock.
But here's the thing. Also, I feel like when we were in let me see. I'm thinking of the other room that we did the day before. We always had an hour.
But by the time we get to the second room, now we only have 40 minutes.
That's a long time.
It's not.
But that's the thing. I think you think it's not, and it is.
Oh yeah.
Because when you're moving frantically, that doesn't mean you're moving precisely. There's a very big difference between the 2 things. Because if you are, that's like coming into a thing with like this. If you have a gun, right, like a machine gun, you're shooting everything, right? As opposed to a sniper, you come in, You shoot one time, you're done. I don't think that you look at it like that. That's why when I look at time, I'm like, I don't have to rush. I'm like, all I gotta do is make sure I hit this one target, hit that one target, that's 3. I'm out of here quickly.
I hear you, but with an escape room, you don't even know what the target is.
You do. We gotta find out what it is. Like, you don't. No, I mean, we have to figure out what this is. As opposed to, like, the tic-tac-toe thing.
No, I'm talking about that.
Okay, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about before that room. There was 4 rooms we went in. It was our jail cells, and then it was that middle part where we didn't even know what to do. We was looking at the socks. She was saying, don't look at the socks. She was trying to look at the walls. How are we supposed to know that we were going to take the pipes off the, like, you know? Mm-hmm. So that is the kind of time where I feel like frantic, when I have to search for something or when I don't know what is happening.
Well, okay, here's an example of that. Mm-hmm. If you were to do, like, laser on something, it would be like, I'm giving an example. You would say, okay, I see 10 things in this room. I'm going to touch those 10 things to make sure that they don't move. Mm-hmm. That's laser.
Oh, but there gets to a point where you kind of you exhaust all the things
you can't. That's what I'm saying. So now, once you've said in your mind, I'm going to check these 10 things, and you check the 10 things, they don't do nothing. What else? What did I not check yet?
Do you think I don't do that?
I think you're touching everything.
Well, I do that. So if I see paintings on the wall, I check all the paintings. I'm checking the perimeter. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to see if anything's on top, anything's on the bottom. I'm looking at it. So I do what you said to do. But on top of that, when I feel like I exhausted all the main, what I feel like are the main things, then I'm like, okay, what do I do now? And then that's when you kind of have to just look for things that you don't even know might do something.
But then you add the new 10 things. That's why I say. That's why I look at it like. That's why when I'm doing it, I don't have to move that fast. I'm like, okay, my goal right now, this thing right here.
But I feel like with you might get caught up on something that may not have to do with what we're supposed to be doing right now.
I'm gonna say yes. And this is why this is okay. That's probably true. Not say disagreeing, but this is why I think that we work better in separate rooms. Because you can do what you do in your room, I do what I do in my room.
That's true.
And that's why I'm saying, why I'm like, in a separate room, it's fine. In the same room, it don't work. And that's why I'm like, how do we use that in a relationship? Like, how do we use that to, like, do better at stuff?
Yeah.
Because another thing I kind of learned too in the house, I've been kind of working on it, is not trying to, like, ask you to do stuff and you do the stuff. And one thing I've also noticed too is, like, I'll catch myself asking you to do something because I want you to do it and I ask you to do it. And there's not necessarily a reason why you have to do it at that time other than I see it. I'm like, oh shit, the bottle is here. So I'm like, can you get the bottle off the table? And there's no reason for me to ask for you to move it right now other than me asking you to move the bottle. So I'm like, so I'll just be like, all right, I'm gonna not say nothing. What's going on? Are you about to cry?
I'm not about to cry.
Oh.
I just think it's funny.
Why?
That you came to the realization.
I mean, but
I'm wondering how this happened.
I don't know. I just decided to try to stop. But the thing is, I now have to be uncomfortable until you fix that thing. That's the difference. Where it's like, because I can either be uncomfortable with this thing or have to talk to you and feel like, okay, this thing's not getting done. However, on the flip side, it's like now in my brain, I can pinpoint times that I'm like, hey, I didn't say to do this thing, you didn't do it. Mm-hmm. So that's, like I said, it's kind of like that. So I was, like I said, I've noticed that if I don't say nothing, then not all the time, but a lot of times or enough times, I'll be like, all right, I'm just gonna not say nothing, and then you'll do the thing. but later. And it's like, it's not bad or good. It's just, it's impeding on whatever I might be doing, or just be looking at something. Like, I'm like, oh, this thing's on the floor. So I'm like, all right, should I pick it up, or should I just let her pick it up later when she picks it up? So, like I said, that's kind of what I've realized. So, with that, you know, I'm bringing that up in relation to the escape room thing is because I think that it's weird. It's very weird. When we do like this, it don't work. When we go like this, it works.
I wouldn't say it doesn't work. We finished the escape room. We won.
Yeah, but it was problematic in the last room because I was annoyed. And I don't think that's how you should finish the escape room. Because in the end of the escape room, like I said, you're running around the escape room thinking about just that thing. Because if I was to do the same thing, imagine if every time you would do something in the escape room, I'm like, move, I got it, I'm gonna do it. You would be annoyed. And it's like that, and if we got it done and we left, and I'm like, yeah, we did it though, right? You'd be like, I mean, yeah, we did do it, but like,
I see what you mean.
Right. And that's why I'm kind of like, I feel like this for some reason. I don't know if it's bad or good that we do this. I just know this is what I see.
I think my problem is patience.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when I feel like I'm running out of time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would constantly put myself into like time sensitive situations.
Mm-hmm.
So like late to work. So I'm like, okay, if I go as fast as I can and run down the block, if I sprint to the train,
mm-hmm.
I will make it there on time enough for me to clock in right before 3 o'clock on the dot, and then put my hat on real quick and get changed real quick. So for me, especially in those time sensitive situations, quickness is really, I feel like, what allows me to either skirt the line or not go completely off into being in like negative territory. So I think in the situation with the escape room, I probably felt like you were going too slowly.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna just do it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think that's where the patience comes in.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too, which probably is another big thing, which actually, honestly, I figured it out.
Okay.
I figured it out. So this is gonna be the last thing I say before we end this podcast, because I think I figured it out. I'm pretty sure I figured this out. So it's communication. There's little communication when we're in the same room. When we're not in the same room, all we do is talking to each other. When we're in the same room, we're just running around, but we're still talking, but it's not like as much communication. The other room, we have to communicate. There's no way we can get out this room if I don't know what's in your room, you don't know what's in my room.
I feel like I kind of tried to, because I don't know if you remember, I had said there was something on the wall and it said a name. And I was this says, it was like the chessboards. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, this says this. Mm-hmm. And I said it to you like out loud. And I felt like you didn't respond to me because you were preoccupied with whatever it is that you were doing. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, maybe he doesn't feel like this is important. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'm just trying to figure this out myself.
That's what I'm saying. Breaks down. Communication breaks down. I don't know. That sounds like a breakdown of communication. I'm like, and I don't feel like that was happening in the other room. And then another thing too that I noticed in the other room, which is a personal thing with me, I guess, and I just changed it in the room. You were saying to go right on the magnet, and it was not right. It was left. But I knew what you were trying to say. And instead of saying like, can you say right instead of left? I just like, all right, she wants me to go left when she say right. She wants me to go left, right when she says left. She wants me to go up when she say down, down when she say up. So I'm like, but outside of that, I'd be like, right is to the right. This is left. And like I said, I don't know how I know that for me, it allows to get through the room, because I'm like, is this a time for me to say that? Like, hey, this is not left. I know you're reverse from me, but you got to say right. And it's like, well, if I don't know what you mean, then I can understand that. But I know when you say right, you mean left. When you say left, you mean right. So like I said, it's definitely a communication thing. Because like I said, that seemed like that those two rooms mean you have to communicate, like 100%. So I mean, yeah, I just think that's what it is. I think we have good communication when we
When we're communicating?
Yeah, when we need to. When we need to, it's there. So it's not like because it would have been even worse if we in the other room and we just like she said, we never leave the room. We just stayed in the whole time. And we're just like.
I think that's crazy, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, but that is going to wrap it up for this podcast. I am going to talk about the trip to close on the property next week and how crazy that was, because that was a whole other thing. We kind of got into the escape room situation because it was kind of interesting to me. It's, like I said, if you have a boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever, fiance, whatever you want to call them, a mate, a significant other, whatever, partner, do escape rooms. It'll definitely expose your relationship, and you can kind of see what the other person is at, see how they operate under pressure, see how the communication skills are, see what their how they think. It's just for things like that. You'll learn a lot about the people. I don't know if I would say do it with a couple though, because I feel like that's gonna really break some people up. You might get divorced and break up.
What do you mean?
Because if
you want to do it with another couple? Oh.
Because I feel like that could be an issue. Bro, I'm gonna be honest with you. If I was in that room with another person, that the jail cell, let's say me and another guy were in there and two girls on the other side, like you and somebody else, I was like, I don't know. Maybe I like my space. Maybe I like space. Listen, we'll be back here next Tuesday. We made it through the podcast. It is the 12th. We made it the 13th. Actually, we made it through. We are trying to stick to our schedule, whether we want to or not, and we're tired and exhausted. We are welcoming guests. We shoot between 10 and 12 on Tuesdays. Listen, hit me up. Oh, that would be great to do like the Bamboo Project escape room where we like have people from the family come through and do stuff. If you haven't already, go check out our social medias. Mine is Donovan Gray, DONIVANGRAY. And you have the beautiful, phenomenal, amazing Anita Byrne, ANETABURN. We have 6 different projects, okay? We have the food project. We have the clothing project. We have the music project. We have the fitness project. We have the sports project. And we have the Bamboo Project podcast, which you just finished listening to right now. You know what it is. Hashtag Bamboo Project 2021. We going up all year. You know the vibes. And with that being said, Bamboo Project